Memphis, and can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ken Sills, CEO and co-founder of Pretect. We deliver vehicle prognostics as a service to original equipment manufacturers, tier 1 manufacturers, as well as fleet management providers in the automotive space.
So give us an example of like what you mean by that.
Basically, we predict when things are going to break down. It's that simple. When we're delivering to a fleet, for instance, we specialize in the larger vehicles, so buses and heavy-duty trucks. And what we will do in those particular cases is give people weeks to months of warning as to when they're going to have on-the-road problems.
And people are familiar with ODB2 ports and like the data that's being generated, but there's more than just 5 or 6 data points. Can you talk about the granularity that you see within these systems and what you're looking at?
Yeah, so it's one of the really cool things about it is, especially when you're dealing in larger vehicles, but also true in passenger vehicles, the quantity of data that are on the data communication bus that are part of all vehicles these days is huge. When we're dealing with larger vehicles, Class 7 and Class 8 vehicles, we're talking about hundreds to thousands of sensors that are on those vehicles that have their data on the communication bus at any point in time. So we're sampling that anytime that the vehicle is operating at up to 10 times per second. So we're generating about a gigabyte of data, sensor data, on these vehicles every month that they're in operation.
And what's the overall impact of being able to do prediction on this? I mean, there's some obvious ones. Can you talk about what the benefits are?
Well, the obvious one is they don't break down anymore. So we've given warnings that are in advance of our record is 5 months in advance of a breakdown. So it can be quite substantial. What this allows a fleet to do, or frankly anybody, we also are partnering with OEMs that are delivering this solution to passenger vehicles. So it will allow you to do what's called aggregate maintenance. So you'll know far enough ahead of time that a problem is going to occur that your regularly scheduled maintenance will be an opportunity for you to fix something that will eventually break in a month or two, and you will know what that time of useful life remaining is.
So $5 today could save you $5,000 down the line.
Absolutely, and that's another cool part of this, which is a lot of the times if you catch something in its early phase, you're preventing downstream damage, which can multiply the cost of this. Not to mention, when you're talking in larger vehicles, just the cost of a wrecker alone, a tow truck, can be over $1,000. It's a very specialized vehicle.
And what's your background that got you into this?
Strangely, I'm a computational astrophysicist. So I was a professor at a research university in Canada, and I also have degrees in electrical and computer engineering, but going really far back, I put myself through university working in fleet maintenance management shops, in garages that dealt with these types of trucks. So that's where my family background is. And this kind of brings it all together, where we have the data science, the computer engineering, and then couple that to the industry that I grew up in.
That's cool. And a lot of the computational analysis is happening on top of AWS. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So obviously this is all driven by advances in machine learning. We have an absolutely amazing data set that we've created in order to produce high quality machine learning results. So the back end really is powered by EC2P3. My data science team, which is small, we only have 4 data scientists, but they rely extensively on using the AWS back end to be able to do the learning and training that we deliver to our customers.
And would this even be possible 5, 10 years ago?
Absolutely not. This is just not possible 5 or 10 years ago. To the point where a lot of the customers that we have worked with in the telematics space or in the OEM space have had to re-envision the philosophy of data. They're only now recognizing the fact that looking forward, IoT is changing everything. The quantity of data that you can play with, that you can imagine you're going to have 10 years from now, is stunning. We came into this 3 years ago as a data scientist, approaching this in a very different way, saying we want as much data as humanly possible. Give us everything, just buckets and buckets of data. And this is in an industry where everyone was being optimized so that they used as little data as possible. They were always asking the question, how can we do this with less data? We came into this with taps wide open. We just said, pour the data in, because we know high quality data equals high quality output.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us. Really appreciate it.
Okay, great. Thank you.